Who's ready for day 5? Hello, everyone. Who's excited, energized, exhausted in the best way, right? It's Friday. We made it to day 5. Okay, quick question for you. What was your biggest aha from yesterday? Let me hear it in the chat. I'll wait. I'll wait. Side note, Paul just got me more of the top potato. This is the breakfast of champions. Did you guys know this? It's really unhealthy, but it's Friday, so who cares? So I literally have been just chowing down on Ruffles and top potato. So whenever anyone says like you have to just drink green juice if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, I completely disagree. Is it helpful? Sure, sometimes, but sometimes you just need Ruffles and top potato. That's such a Midwest Minnesotan thing, by the way. So, all right, you guys ready for today? Let's see these ahas, how detailed we should be with Chat GPT prompts. I love that. Yes. Hooks, so good. Yes. The archetypes and descriptions and learning yours as an example. I love that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, get your notebooks ready because we're going to dive in. We've got a lot today. Okay, first things first. Who here has ever watched a movie and you liked the movie, but something just felt off? It was kind of like they missed the mark a little bit, and you were like, oh, it was so close to being good, or rather, so close to being great, but it just kind of wasn't there. Any examples that you can think of? I can think of so many movies, but not off the top of my head this morning. I'm sure you guys will have some good examples. Sometimes we watch these movies and we're like, what's missing? There's something that they just 7 pounds. It was so close, right? And it was so good, but not great. Furiosa ended terribly, right? Have you ever wondered, Twisters, yep. Have you ever wondered what is it that makes a movie great? What is it that makes us say, like, I love that. I have to watch it again. I have to tell my friends about it. Drop a yes if you've ever wondered, what is that secret sauce? Because guess what? It comes into play in everything we do with our content. And I've got it here for you today. Drop a yes in the chat if you're excited about it. I know it's a Friday, so I mean, drink your coffee, drink your water, and make sure that you're super active in the comments because it's going to keep you awake. All right. There is a secret formula for all of the top blockbusters, the ones that sell out, the ones that people get 6 movie tickets to over the summer, the ones that kind of become instant legends. It's what creates blockbuster content. This is the blockbuster content formula, okay? Now, it's going to be a little bit different from movies to content, but there's a similarity. For content, it's this: hook, story, call to action. Now, sometimes the story is the value we're sharing, but this is the journey you want to take people on. It's the classic storytelling approach for instantly engaging and guiding the audience. Now, this is based on, ready for it, the hero's journey. Joseph Campbell. The hero's journey is a predictable journey. Basically, it always starts with, like, think of the Matrix where Neo gets the call to action. Living a normal life, gets the call to action, jumps on in. Who here has seen the Matrix or the Lord of the Rings or Star Wars or pretty much anything we've ever seen that was an amazing movie? Okay, so the hero's journey. Are you already taking notes? Yes? Okay, beautiful. So the hero's journey follows 12 simple steps. Okay, you ready for it? So I've got my notes all ready. We have step 1. We start in an ordinary world. That's when we first show up on someone's feed, but we're not going to relate all of this to content. Ordinary world. The next thing that happens is the call to action, right? Bilbo Baggins suddenly disappears, and before you know it, Frodo has a ring. And he's like, what do I do with this ring? I think everything's about to change, right? 3 is the refusal of the call. I love Lord of the Rings a lot, way too much. I actually like tried to learn Elvish in middle school. I was like, this is so cool, right? Okay, so anyways, sorry. So Frodo gets the ring, right? And he rejects it. He says, no, Gandalf, you take it. You must. I cannot do this, right? The rejection, the refusal. Side note, drop a yes if you see this in your own journey. Did you catch that? Who here rejected the call to being a business owner or an entrepreneur or taking things to the next level or trying something different? We are all Frodo. Yep. So get your razors ready because our feet are going to be hairy. Number 4 is meeting of the mentor, right? We've got Gandalf. He's right there. That's the mentor, right? Taking notes, right? 5 is crossing the threshold. Now, this is a really unique thing, and this can happen in our content. This is something I try to make happen with most of my content. It's basically this idea of like, let's transport you from the ordinary world where everything is like standard and normal, etc. Who's actually felt that in this challenge? Has anyone kind of noticed we've gone from like the ordinary to like, let's talk about different things, bigger things, crazier things? Donald Miller may have borrowed this from Joseph Campbell. I think this is one of those things where it went into, what is it like, I think Joseph Campbell's no longer with us. So I think he was able to just use that IP. Okay, so crossing the threshold is like, I am going to accept that after this moment, nothing is going to be the same again. Leaving the Shire. If you haven't seen Lord of the Rings, I'm sorry. Okay. Number 6, this is tests, finding allies, discovering enemies. 7, and by the way, 6, my very first poster in my room growing up was Legolas. I thought he was so hot. I liked the elf ears. I liked the platinum hair. I liked the, the straightened hair. I was like, oh, he's so cute. And it turns out I just kind of wanted to look like him. I didn't want to actually end up with someone like him. But anyways, okay. So 7, approach. Now this is huge. Are you ready for this? Approach to the innermost cave. This is one of the biggest things, and most people shy away from it. This is not just pain points, right? This is, what is that deepest fear? The thing that you are terrified of. What is that thing that you're scared to face? Who here loves that we've been like facing some of that head on this week? Yes, it's pretty fun. You're brave. I'm serious. You're on the hero's journey. 8 is the ordeal. The ordeal. And usually this is kind of like a final battle or like the big battle. This is the thing that tests you. I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but there's this theory called cycling in business. Anyone ever heard of that before? Cycling? It's kind of like crashing out. Most entrepreneurs experience at least one great crash out. This is called The Hero's Journey by Joseph Campbell. Most entrepreneurs experience a time where suddenly they hit rock bottom. Drop a yes if you've ever experienced it. I will raise both hands. And you're like, can this get any lower? What am I supposed to do, right? That is the ordeal, okay? It's the worst part of the worst. So cycling is basically this concept of like, did you face the worst? And are you still showing up? Did you catch that? Are you still showing up? I watched an amazing video actually last night from Melanie Perkins, the CEO of Canva. I've kind of been studying them lately, her and her husband, Cliff. And she shared one thing that she wants everyone to know is that it's hard for everyone. Write that down if you need that. It's hard for everyone. When people make it seem like they have absolutely everything figured out, they don't. They have their own hard. It's difficult. It is hard for everyone. Okay, 9, we have the reward. Oh, that feeling of victory. Yes, we threw the ring into the fires, right? 10, because most people think it's done with victory, right? 10 is the road back. The road back. Because you probably guessed it, but we're heading back to the ordinary world again. You know why? As great as like this week has been, who here knows that Monday you have to wake up and be back in normal business as usual. Tonight I have to be mom. I have to cook dinner. This has been magical. It's been amazing. We crossed the threshold, right? And then we go to 11 because there's a moment that happens as we're on the road back or as we're arriving back to normal life. And it's called resurrection because basically we realize we're a different version of ourselves. Who already feels that? Like nothing's ever going to be the same again. Isn't that wild? But 12 is big because you are forever changed in that you are returning with the elixir. Returning with the elixir. You're bringing great news. You're bringing a new formula. You're bringing a new skill set. You're bringing a new version of yourself. You're bringing a new certainty. Drop a yes if one of those is true for you, even after this week. It's pretty cool, isn't it? So we've got the 12, and now we are back in the ordinary world. And are you ready? Who's ready for what comes next? It happens again. The whole thing, it never ends. The hero's journey is continuous. It just keeps getting bigger. Drop an aha if you needed this reminder. Is there a final breakthrough in business? No. The journey just gets bigger with higher stakes, higher rewards, higher risks, higher potential. Who just got the aha that they've been waiting for? I wish someone had said this to me, honestly, like 10 years ago, right? There's never a day where you suddenly wake up and you're like, and we made it. Everything is ease from here on out. That does not, Rudy's like, please take a sip. I will, I promise. Okay. And that is how sequels are made. Yes. Sequels exist because the journey keeps going. Now, here's the thing. Most of us, we say that we want easy, right? We say that we want ease. We say, when is there going to be the final breakthrough where everything suddenly makes sense? But that's not really true. Because if that were true, who here would still be in like a retail 9 to 5? Same day, 7 days a week, 5 days a week, again and again. Who's getting the aha? Rudy. That's so funny, your background. Rudy's background is me from like 6 years ago. Oh, that's so funny. Oh my gosh. So I love learning about this hero's journey. Now, we can't do the whole hero's journey in content. Please write that down. You cannot always do the hero's journey in content, but we can take it into account. Fair? We can at least think about it. We can think about like, what are people struggling with? What is their journey like? This helps us to understand how we can bring forth the elixir to them or become the mentor. Got it? Now, my process for following this kind of blockbuster content formula is that hook, story, offer. And that's it. Again and again and again. The hook pulls them in. The story, aka the value, the explanation, the framework, the formula, etc., shows them, hey, I either have the elixir or I'm going to be the mentor, or both. That's also beautiful. Side note, who's loving this? The hook is the call to adventure. Got it? The hook is the call to adventure. This is something that is intriguing or alarming or promising. This breaks routine. Did you catch that? Write those two words down. It breaks routine. It calls them to action. This grabs attention. It invites them to the journey. It promises something interesting, useful, or exciting. Just like in The Matrix, Neo receives the mysterious call, and it leads him to question his reality, his experience, what he's currently going through. It disrupts his whole world, right? You got it. Now, the story is a place where you get to reflect the hero's trials and desired transformation as the mentor, with the elixir, or both. Now, here's a big hint for you. And this is kind of like the big shift. I feel like most people who are creating content, I don't know if you guys have ever seen like some of the big marketers and business people, they actually have a lot of content that doesn't ever perform on any platform. Has anyone ever seen that? And you're like, how come nothing is ever performing? And they're like hiring really fancy camera teams and editing and all of that. The reason for that is because they have lost sight of who the hero is. Did you catch that? They have lost sight of who the hero is. When you are creating content, you are not the hero. Your audience is. Each and every one of your viewers is the hero. The second you lose sight of that, there's a disconnect. Because they say, wait a second, if you are the hero, then what does that make me? A bystander? I don't think I like this. The moment that you put viewers on, not a pedestal, but kind of an intentional place of recognition that they are the hero of their own story, and you can show up and recognize their trials and transformation, pain points, through being the mentor or bringing the elixir, it changes the entire dynamic. And people say, wow, you've deeply impacted my life. I love how I can see like people are taking notes like crazy, right? Isn't this so cool? This is the game changer. This is a game changer. Go ahead and drop an aha as soon as you're finished taking notes. It's a big one, right? Now the CTA is officially the transferring of the elixir. So who here was super excited to see that this challenge was happening? Like you saw that I posted about it and I said, here's how you sign up. And you're like, I want that elixir. You dangled it and now I want it, right? Drop a yes if you can see that, right? So this is you offering it. This is you bearing a gift. They don't have to accept it, but they can't accept it if you do not offer it. This is an invitation. Beautiful, right? The CTA actually offers closure. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if you guys know about how the brain works with learning. Let me move my ruffles for a second. Anyone old enough to remember ruffles have riches? I love those commercials so much, the little baby. Okay, so this is going to be a rough representation of the human brain, but pretend, oh, I don't think I could dare to draw a brain. We'll just pretend this is a brain, okay? So the brain has all of these little receptors for learning. This is an analogy. It's not a perfect analogy because I don't feel like going into technobabble on a Friday. Fair enough. When you fulfill the desire for learning, the desire for growth, the desire for capacity, connection, the desire to answer the call, most people say like, isn't that enough? But here's the thing. Fulfilling that desire expands the desire. I have a question for you. Who here has gone on at least one rabbit hole since we started this challenge? Drop a yes if you've been like, yeah, I absolutely nerded out. I had to learn more. Who ordered a book? Has anyone here ordered a book since we've been on this challenge together? Learning creates more capacity for learning. A lot of people think that the ability to like absorb knowledge is finite. It's not. Did you catch that? It's not. So if you don't provide an invitation to the elixir with a CTA, a way to learn more, they're going to go find someone else who can immediately. If I haven't written a book on psychology, which I actually don't have any plan to anytime soon, but if I don't write books on psychology, you have to go find books from someone else because suddenly your capacity and desire for learning about that topic is increased. So if you do not provide CTAs, you're forcing your audience to go vet and find other people. Now, question for you, are there other people in your industry that don't care as much as you? Drop a yes if this is true. Are there other people in your industry that are scammers? Straight up. Or how about, let's just brag on ourselves for a second. Are there other people in your industry who just aren't as good as you? And that's okay. Who here knows that you have the capacity, the ability, the skill set, the desire, how about the care to serve the people fully? Drop a yes if that's you. Isn't this neat? So when we don't offer CTAs, grab my free pack of hooks, grab my free 0 to 100 Instagram growth blueprint, grab my free content Vortex challenge. When you don't offer CTAs, at least semi-regularly, people are forced to go find someone else who can, and they will. Oh, I love how stuff's like, oh, bleep, major aha right now. Oh, isn't this fun? Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Sometimes we can get in our head that making like offers and sharing things on the front end, back end, middle end, email is asking or taking. And sometimes we can reframe that story, right? Just like we did with identities and say, what if this is a gift? What if I'm making it easier for this person? Drop the aha if this is clicking for you. There are times where selling can be a service. When people stop by my front door, I actually hate that because I hate when my doorbell rings. That sound like stresses me out, but I still answer it anyways. When someone stops by my front door and they say, I noticed that there's a ton of bird poop on all your windows on the front side of your house. Do you want, we're in the neighborhood next week. Do you want us to just come and wash them for you? Oh my gosh, yes. What's the cost for that? Thank you. I'm not going to get out there, but it's been driving me crazy. Did you catch that? Selling can be a service. Selling can be a gift. The CTA is a gift, whether it's free, whether it's paid. You're saying, hey, listen, I'm confident enough in myself, or rather, how about this? Certain enough in myself that I'm going to show up fully and extend the elixir. The elixir is not always free. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. Drop aha if this is big. Ooh, beautiful. Now, do you guys want to actually see that in action? Drop a yes if you're like, I'm intrigued. Cool. So I have a question for you. How would you like me to create your brand voice? To sit down with you and identify your brand archetype, your unique formula for you. Drop a yes if you're like, all of this is already sounding awesome. Or how would you like for me to create your entire 4Vs framework with the entire percentages based on your brand archetype, the content prompts, the plan, and strategy? I'm sure you can figure it all out yourself. You're all very smart, right? And sometimes you're like, I just don't want to do this. I don't want to get out front of my house and clean the bird poop off the windows. How about your next year's worth of custom hooks tailored to make your audience pause, read, and feel deeply? I did this for one business. Has anyone ever heard of Lady Boss? Back when they were doing like, oh gosh, what was it? Like 50 million a year? They came to me and they said, Rachel, our content on TikTok is not taking off. What gives? And I said, I'm going to create 10 custom hooks for you. I did. And within 1 week, they hit 1 million views on their first video. Kind of fun, right? I think so. What if I could create your video scripts for you? Drop a yes if you want that. Email subject lines, even inspiration that's specific to you for email content. Now, anyone want to meet up and hang out with me and nerd out twice a year, face to face, with me and other powerhouse business owners who are pushing themselves, who are authentic and kind and desiring growth and supportive and not catty? What a crazy concept, right? You're in a room with people who are in it, dedicated to playing at the highest level. Anyone want this? I know I always have. So the last couple of years, this is about 2 years in the making, which is kind of crazy. I've been thinking and brainstorming like, should I create like a super high level mastermind, one where basically we create everything I just talked about for the members. But the thing about masterminds is they feel kind of at times disconnected. I don't know, anyone know what I'm talking about? You've seen the masterminds and it's like networking. I don't like that. Now, last December, myself and Anna and our amazing husbands sat down and we decided to create something for the four of us, for our two families. And we called it a syndicate, which basically means, hey, listen, we're kind of like the equivalent of like blood sisters. We're going to have each other's backs. We're all in. It's pretty much like a partnership without having to give away profits, right? And I decided instead of creating a mastermind, I wanted to create the content syndicate. So this is a collective where each member lifts up the next. When one person gets traction, we all learn from it and get traction. When one of us succeeds, we turn back and say, hey, here's the elixir I got from this. And I want to support you in every step of your marketing. Drop a yes if this sounds kind of fun. We're talking next level collaboration, strategy, and growth. And this is fueled by a high-powered group of people that you get to lean on day in and day out. I'm so excited about this. So we will not be taking everybody. I have to say this, okay? We won't be taking everybody. I'm actually going to personally be vetting anyone who seems like they're ready for it, okay? So just one big heads up. If we say no, if I say no, it'll either be me or my team that say no in email or over actually text messaging or WhatsApp. But if we say no, it's not because you're not worthy. Did you catch that? It's not because your business isn't good. It's not because X, Y, and Z. It's only because for this very first round of this, I want to make sure that it's the right collaboration for that particular round of people. So I'm going to have my team drop this. Feel free to apply. It doesn't cost anything to apply. And I will be texting people after this in between rounds of Mario Kart, which is kind of fun. We already have 3 people in. This is not going to be something with 1,000 people or anything like that because I can't handle that load of content support and copy. So Sam will drop the link. Feel free to apply and drop aha in the chat if you realize that that didn't have to feel crazy uncomfortable? Anyone say, actually, I could do that? Who here noticed that that felt like a gift? That felt like the person who says, hey, there's some bird poop on your windows. I can wash those for you next week. Ugh, actually, yes, because I've been thinking about it. Who loves it? We don't have to pull out the slides with the crazy value stack that we always create it just in case, but that's not needed. Did you catch that? What was your biggest aha from watching me share? Go ahead and share it in the chat. Can it be chill? Can it be light? Can it feel really personal? Go ahead and share your aha. It can just be an invitation. It was so conversational. Beautiful. It was easy. It flowed. Isn't that kind of fun? Now, I will tell you that in the past, when I followed other people's frameworks for CTAs and selling, everything felt off because it wasn't built based on my brand archetype. Did you catch that? Your brand archetype determines what CTAs and how to sell are going to perform the best. Did you catch that? Oh, isn't that so cool? Any other ahas? The value, bonus, testimonial always feels like mania to me. Oh, and trust me, when you're performing it, it's borderline psychosis at times. You're like, and da-da-da-da-da, and da-da-da-da-da, and that's not all. Guess what? There's more, folks. I'm Billy Blanks, and I'm here to sell you something, right? Learning creates more capacity and desire for learning. Yes, if I don't provide a CTA to the elixir, my audience will find an elixir from someone and somewhere else who might not care as much. Yes. Isn't this so cool? I love the setup for the offer and how the offer was super casual. Yes. Now, here's the thing with offers and CTAs. When everything leading up to it is intentionally architected, when you've put effort into all of that, it makes the CTA, it makes the sell, it makes the offer that much easier because they're already sold. Isn't that so cool? It does a lot of the selling for you. Beautiful. Okay. This is a point for every single person here. You need to, are you ready for this? Build loyalty before expansion. Build loyalty before expansion. Probably every week, somebody who doesn't have like an audience or a reach of my size, usually people who have good businesses, but no real success on social and with content, they'll say, if I had your platform, I would be making like $100 million a year. And I'm like, no, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. Because if you could, you already would be. Build loyalty before expansion. What I mean by that is grow deep loyalty where you're at before broadening. Crush it on one platform before you expand to 5. Become a big fish in your pond before moving to the lake. A lot of times we lose sight of gratitude for the 1, the 10, the 100, because we're hearing about people reaching millions, right? Here's how you get 1,000 leads per day every single day. And you're like, oh, I only get like 17 leads a day. Are you kidding me? So take one moment and drop in the chat something that you're currently experiencing in your current business that you're actually really grateful for. These are good, you guys. These are good. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Yep. I've always had this mentality. Well, let me rephrase that. For the last 4 years, I've had this mentality. If I can get one, that means I can get five. If I can get five, that means I can get 10. If I can get 10, that's not that far away from 50. And 50 is really not that far away from 100 or 250, 500, 1,000. And that's really not that far away from 10,000. So if I can be grateful for the one, I might be able to get to five. But if I'm not grateful for the one viewer, the one person who commented, five's never going to happen. 10's never going to happen. Anyone kind of like this? It reframes every single win, which I think is fantastic. Now, this is essential because the next point we're going to talk about blew my mind. Does anyone want to hear about my very first tipping point in my business and social? Okay, so 2016. I'm working full time. You guys, I don't know how I got a job as a marketing manager of a network hardware company, like Inc. 5000 tech company. And I somehow got this job. I guess I just interviewed very, very well. So I'm working as the marketing manager for this tech company. It's like network hardware, switches and modems and routers and all kinds of crazy stuff, right? So I decided to start posting on my Facebook page, and I had 0 following outside of friends and family. Cool. Helpful to know. Sorry, 2015 is when this started. So 2015, I decided to post one post. And up until that point, I got the normal reach, right? Like a couple hundred or 50 or 17 or whatever. It was the end of 2015. I posted about my small wedding ring. Anyone remember that story? Anyone new to it? I posted about my small wedding ring. And at first I was like, okay, my friends and family commented, etc. It was very much so hook story. There wasn't a CTA because I didn't know what to do at that point in time. And it took about 6 months. And suddenly I started to notice that this post was getting shared. First, it was shared by like 3 people. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's happening? These aren't people I know. And then it was shared by a couple more people. And then one morning I woke up and my phone was like a disco ball with notifications from Facebook. Suddenly I realized that post had reached 60,000 people. Holy moly. How is that possible? Right? And before you know it, it was at 70,000 shares, 417,000 engagements, 11.3 million reached. It was not because the post reached millions. You do not need to be reaching millions. You do not need a platform of millions before the millions will come. Some of you have to write that down today. And that is all because of the tipping point. 2 words, critical mass. This is what it takes to hit a tipping point. Okay, this is what it takes to hit a tipping point. When I say a tipping point, I mean a hockey stick, something that is way outside of the ordinary, something you've never experienced before. Okay, Hush Puppies. Does anyone remember the shoes Hush Puppies? It's from like when we were a lot younger, right? So Hush Puppies were nearly bankrupt. They were going out of production. And the owner was like ready to like sign the bankruptcy and everything. And then all of a sudden he started to notice a little little spikes in sales that were outside of the norm. Within just a few months, they were selling more than they had ever sold before. And they were able to fund their payroll. And thousands and thousands and thousands of pairs of hush puppies were coming back into the market. People were buying them. They were everywhere. They were in vogue all of a sudden. So what happened? Quick question for you. Who here would assume a massive influencer shared them? One of their old ads took off? This is mind-blowing. There were 200 hipsters in New York that started wearing vintage hush puppies. 200 hipsters that revitalized hush puppies. Drop aha in the chat. How contagion, virality, spread works is exponential. When I go back to my viral post, it wasn't the fact that tons of people shared it. It's that 3 types of people, yes, shared it. The 3 types of people, we're not going to go super deep into this today, but there are connectors, there are mavens, and there are salesmen. Now, connectors are super powerful. So they're natural influencers. And you don't know who is a connector or even a super connector. Isn't this wild? You can take off overnight by reaching 100, 200, 300 super connectors. And before you know it, your entire business and brand blow up. And you don't know who they are. Who's getting the aha from that? One of my favorite ways to do this, to reach these super connectors, I can tell people are getting sleepy on a Friday. You still here with me? Quick, sip your coffee. Let's go, let's go. Okay, you ready for it? So, is ready? Who wants to hear it? Drop a yes. Stunned silence. Yeah, so when I went back to, by the way, the post, I noticed that there were a few people who were like super influential, but not famous in any way. They just like to share stuff and people like to listen. They weren't influencers. They were just in mom groups. Isn't that crazy? They were in Facebook groups for moms. I went and tracked down where they were sharing that post. Back in the day, you could do that through like groups and stuff. It was those first super connectors that made me take off. And that led to 11.3 million reached organically. Catch that? And by the way, from just that one piece, I was featured in like 37 online publications, including the Today Show, Daily Mail, Cosmopolitan, Glamour, all of the above. And Sealy sent me a free mattress. I had never had a new mattress before, so that was pretty cool back then, right? That's pretty cool today. So ready, content preeminence. Write those 2 words down. Content preeminence. This is how you get the super connectors to share the snot out of all your stuff. Cool? This is how you establish yourself as the go-to expert in your niche, in your specialty, in your area of focus, in your industry. The single fastest way to do it is by consistently providing high-value video content. High-value video content. Beauty. There are 3 things that you can bring to your high value, and this is specifically V, right? V content. There are 3 specific energies or attitudes that you can bring to your video content, especially your V value content, that changes the entire game. I do want to real fast answer this question. It says, I'm curious, how often were you posting weekly before that Facebook post? Probably once or twice a week, and they weren't good. Not at all. I didn't know what I was doing. I was kind of just being like, what's your favorite social media platform? On my Facebook page, you know? You guys know what I'm talking about when you start posting stuff where you're like, ooh, it's just not great, but I got to do something. Okay, number one, the first energy or attitude is authority. Do you know what creates authority? There's one major factor: certainty. There are some people who don't know what they're talking about who have authority with the right audiences. Certainty is a mindset. You do not have to be confident to be certain. Am I confident that when I take a sip of this, none of it is going to dribble down onto my sweater and it's going to be really embarrassing? No, but I'm certain that I'm going to try. Okay, here we go. Fantastic. Got it? Authority is about showing up consistently, sharing what you know so that you can be viewed as knowledgeable. Big tip for everybody: if you don't know something, go learn more about it before you teach it, because people sniff that out. Your voice shakes. The certainty's missing. It's a little bit like a shaky foundation. I once worked with, I once hired a video crew for YouTube, and I won't ever say who it is. They said, you don't need to know what you're talking about. Just make it up. No one will know the difference as long as you say it like with a smile. And I was like, what? I don't like this at all. They also said, like, you can make up your morning routine. No one will know. My voice shook the whole time I was recording, and then I fired them the next month. I was like, absolutely not. Oh, Eli, I think you might know. Okay. But here's the thing. If you don't know something, go spend some time learning it before you share it. Share things that you can share with certainty, and you will be viewed as an authority. True authorities say, I'm not sure about that. Who's ever heard me say, I don't know? That's not my area of expertise. I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to have to ask somebody. It's okay to say that with certainty. Did you catch that? True authorities say, I'm not sure. I'll have to look it up. That's not my jam. I don't really know that industry. I'm going to ask somebody else with certainty. Okay. Isn't this fun? This is a good day. Happy Friday, everyone. Okay. Number two, the second major energy or attitude or decision is consistency. Consistency does not mean you have to try to be like Gary. You do not need to post 100 pieces of content a day. Who has time for that, folks? I didn't even have time to make a breakfast. I was eating Ruffles and top the tater, right? No, we don't have time for that. Consistency just means that you show up regularly. Can people expect to kind of hear from you on a regular basis? Are they going to see your face? Or are you going to post every day for 3 weeks and then disappear for 6 months? Ooh, sorry. Who needed that aha today? As long as you're posting something and still showing up, that matters. And then when you can post something excellent, even better. Consistency reassures your audience that you're committed, you're reliable, you're engaged for the long haul. Has anyone ever seen people who actually disappear for like 2 years at a time and then they come back with an offer? Even in my like off seasons, I was still showing up with something, right? Something is better than nothing. Consistently show up. Cool. Something that can be really helpful is to create a regular content schedule. where it's like, I'm going to show up once a week no matter what. It doesn't matter how bad life is right now. I'm going to show up once a week. Or I'm going to show up 3 times a week and I get to pick the days. Sometimes that's really helpful for those of us that need a little more of a flex schedule. Cool. The third energy and attitude is relatability. You've noticed I've talked a lot about this. Does anyone ever appreciate that you see things like my cat wandering in the background or my dog running in the middle of a call? Or the fact that, yeah, I'm not waiting till this call is done to have coffee. I am having coffee now. I am so tired, right? So relatability is huge. This is showing people I'm not pretending to not be a human. I'm not pretending to not be a human. Drop a yes if throughout this challenge, if my hair, makeup, outfit, background, everything was perfect this entire time, and I was just following a polished script and I wasn't having mistakes or editing out the mistakes, who here would feel a disconnect from me? Oh, right. It's okay to be human. And anyone who doesn't accept your humanity, you don't want them anyways. Did you catch that? You don't want them because we all are. Question for you. In what ways have you seen me show some of that relatability, even just in this challenge? Let's come up with some examples, or even on other calls. Hot flashes, right? I'm starting to have one actually right now, which is super fun. You can see it starting to flush. The bag of chips, Ruffles, Mario Go-Kart, right? Drop a yes or a no. Do you feel like it's actually pretty easy to be relatable? It means you're just not editing out or filtering out real life. You don't have to try for relatability. You don't have to script it. You don't have to plant it. You just don't need to hide who you are and what happens. I've had a few times on trainings. I always have to be careful when I draw things because I don't always think it through before I draw it. I've probably had 2 or 3 trainings over the years where I'll start drawing and I'm like, oh, that's a penis, take on it. And it just happens. And you draw it and then you're like, that's okay. And some people would edit that out immediately. And I was like, no, I'm leaving that in. I love it because it's real. It happened and it was very embarrassing. But also, that's real life. Who loves this concept? Drop an aha. If you wanted to know that it's okay to be human and yourself and flawed and imperfect and real, and also still be viewed as an expert, as an authority, as someone who's consistent, as someone who's reliable. Yes, I love this. Okay, we have 1 minute left. So we're going to do 2 things. One, Sam, do you want to drop the link for the content syndicate? I know there were a couple people who said that it didn't work in the chat on Facebook. I haven't seen that in Zoom. And then what I would love for you guys, still you're invited to join me. It's going to be like honestly the best year ever. I'm so stinking excited, especially to spend 2 in-person events together. I was halfway thinking about doing something with horses, not horseback riding, but like inviting people to hang out with Brad. Do you guys know about Brad? Oh, Sam, do you want to just drop the Woofu link? Because the funnel is not letting people book a call and it says there's no call booking. If you want to do that, please.
Uh,
Paul does
I
know.
I changed it. It was the Woofu
Oh,
link was redirecting to a book a call page, and I just changed it.
thank you so
Good.
much. Paul does know about Brad. Paul was the one who brought Brad to me. Brad is my Percheron. He's this massive horse. So he looks like what the ring wraiths would ride in Lord of the Rings. He looks like a fantasy horse. He's got like long crimped hair. He's a rescue, but he's 2,400 pounds. So he's massive. His hooves are like this big, and he has he's 18 hands high, huge. Everyone who sees him is just like, uh-huh. And he has a lot of like PTSD, so we've had to like work through that. So there have been a few times where I've been on a lead rope and he's been dragging me on ice, just running away. But like, I love Brad so much and I would love to let people meet him once he's ready. He's so close to meeting people. Okay, so go ahead and share your biggest takeaway from today. Randall, you gave me some amazing advice on how to support and attract my target audience yesterday. Can you please advise what I look up in Answer the Public specifically to understand the questions and pain points of this audience? Yes. And it's church leaders, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
So, yes. So the big thing I would do is I would do it for marketing. Just a normal viral framework for marketing. So social media, YouTube, email, ads, etc., and then just add for churches at the end of each one. Cool.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, beautiful. So yours is actually going to look very similar to like mine, which is kind of cool. Yeah, they're looking up like social media for churches, TikTok for pastors, YouTube for churches, how to grow an Instagram as a church, that kind of stuff. So it's the same pain points as any business, but then just for churches. Yep. Okay, what types of CTAs work for which brand archetype? Okay, so this is tricky because it's not that there are 12 different types of CTAs that work. Does that make sense? There's not one framework for each and every one of the archetypes. It's the combo. So for example, if somebody is, let me pull up the archetypes. I'm at the point where I'm tired this week, so if I am lagging, sorry. Okay, so if you are, let's say, a magician, but you have a little bit of a jester, you're going to share something that feels like a CTA that feels like potential transformation. And sometimes you might add a little bit of like a hint of irony or a joke underneath it. And same thing for sales strategy. So if I were to explain this in the simplest way, my big four are magician, everyman, creator. Some people argue that it's sage, but I don't agree. And then jester, but not in that order. And so when it comes to sales, I kind of like to focus on my persona as the main sales strategy, and then kind of add like a hint of the other ones in. So for example, we got a proposal the other day, and you get to play with this. That's the fun part. I don't think anyone's ever created like set sales strategies for each and every one of these, which kind of blows my mind. But we had a proposal we sent to a client, and I said, there is no reason. She was kind of like pushing back. And I was like, no, I just know I could take you further than the company you're working with. And so I said, there's no reason you should not be at six-figure months right now, because you have a hot brand, you have a hot industry, and you got a hot face. And then I put like the winking emoji, and she loved it and immediately signed. So there's that like gesture hidden in the proposal and sales process. Does that make sense? Play around. Enjoy the process. Yay. Okay, I want to polish up my ChatGPT prompts, not only for my personal brand, but also for my clients whom I represent on social media. Did you guys see the updated workbook? There are some great prompts in there for you. Beautiful. And those are all simple and easy to use, clear, etc. So start with that. Steph, you're moving across the country? That's intense. Wow. Oh, how do you create a list from scratch? So I think I have actually an amazing YouTube video on this, like how to build it from the ground up. Let me check, because it's like a full 10 to 15 minute tutorial. It's literally called How to Build an Email List from Scratch. Okay, here we go. I'm going to respond here. Yeah, it's how to build an email list from scratch, 0 to 10,000. After this, I'm definitely gonna have to rest my voice. You can probably hear like, oh, do you guys hear the difference? I swear it like lowers 3 notes after teaching for days. Okay, for those of us who have, for those of us who have services or sales that is hyper local or regional, what are best practices for ensuring the right audience finds us? Huge fan of LinkedIn, huge fan of it. So I can be a little bit of a stalker when I want something. Anyone else that way? And so I'll go and find all the people I want to connect with, and I'll either view their profiles. So I would make like a spreadsheet, create a list of all of their URLs, go view all their profiles right after you post something incredible for the industry in the local or regional area. And if they look and see who viewed their profile, they might come back and view yours. And if that doesn't work, just send them a friend request or a, what is it, connection request. I used to do this back in the day. Yeah. Okay, Rudy, what's your view on offering limited free consulting instead of a lead magnet? Don't do it ever. Don't do it. The second you offer anything that is a paid service for free, people will never value it again. So back in the day, I used to be able to offer people hair services for free to get them in the door. Guess how many of them came back? Even though it was incredible hair services. None. Zero. Zero, zero, zero. Okay, goal is to actually, I think I answered that. Can you please elaborate a bit more about your understanding of turning engagement into clients as the topic for today? What else could be important besides hook, story, CTA? Absolutely, it is the authority. So content preeminence, authority, the consistency and relatability. And there's a whole, oh, let me think, what did I save this as? I think I know what I saved this as. Give me 1 second, you guys. Psychological effects. I can't remember what I saved it as, so I have to find it again. Okay, so here's the big one. There we go, found it. All right, so the mere exposure effect. This one right here is the one I would focus on. So the mere exposure effect is the classic psychological effect that suggests that people develop a preference for things simply because they are exposed to them repeatedly. When people frequently see your content or engage with it, it becomes familiar, and they start to feel a sense of comfort and connection. The more people see your content, the more likely they are to view it positively and engage with it. This familiarity can transform a casual viewer into a fan, and then ultimately into a client or customer. Beautiful. Okay. Let's see. Next question. Angel, I would say still feel free to apply. I mean, we're not going to be like, oh no, Your business isn't where it should be. You're a loser. We don't do that. So I don't do that, that's for sure. Even if we say to someone, oh, this isn't the right round, it's like super kind, I promise. If I say that, trust me, it's going to be kind. Um, yeah, I need more coffee. I'm down to the last bits. Okay. So this is Sarita. I'm usually super consistent with content, but this summer I had to sadly disappear for 2 months. By the way, it happens, you guys. Now that I'm back, I've had 3 new client signups in the past week. Not sure if this was just a little act now urgency or what. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. I'm not planning to disappear again, but I'm not going to beat myself up if I need to. Should I have recycled content instead? Yes. So sometimes if you disappear, some people are like, oh, I haven't seen you in a while. I've missed you. There's a built up tension. Yeah, from the few months. I have like a 30-day folder. So my team knows where my 30-day folder is. And it's like, if I need a break for 30 days, here's this folder. Some of it is recycled, some of it is B-roll, some of it is repurposed, transformed. Huge fan of that. Yep. Um, you can honestly go back 4 months, 4 months and then back. People don't remember stuff 4 months later, even 3 months, but 4 months is even safer. The final edits are added to the workbook. They're ready for you. Beautiful. Okay, Steph, best way to generate leads on LinkedIn. What I just shared is pretty big. The spreadsheet and then viewing people's profiles right after you post, and then connecting intentionally with anyone really that you would want to work with. You can look up specific titles, all of the above, and then consistent content marketing on LinkedIn does pretty well. Yeah. Beautiful. Annalise, I think the voice fatigue is mostly from probably unsupported shouting at Boone. Oh my gosh, you guys, our new dog is so naughty. Oh my gosh. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. If dogs can have ADHD, he does. He's just like, what's happening? And he just like wants to chew things. And I'm like, ah. And he dug up an entire bush of my hydrangeas. And I was just like, he cannot be unsupervised ever. We've never had a dog like this before. He is just high energy. So I'm always like, boom, boom. See, that sounds terrible, right? That's so bad for my voice. Randall, can you speak briefly to the psychology behind business owners offering services for free? Just don't do it. I mean, you can do it if you want. Always feel free to go against what I say. There's this idea that you can get people, let me rephrase that. There's this belief, which I think is a false belief, that you can make people get hooked on what it is that you offer by offering it for free. But I think that only works for drugs. Do you know what I mean? Because it's so highly addictive. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. I've never tried like crack or coke or meth, and I'm smart to not try it, right? Just because that would be really bad. But I feel like if you try cocaine or heroin or something, you can't really stop easily, right? I think. I don't know. Somebody tell me. But the truth is, like, the majority of us don't get a big enough result for people most of the time that they're obsessed. You've probably heard of the phrase, or maybe you haven't, a wallet expanded does not easily contract. Well, a contracted wallet does not easily expand. When people are used to getting something for free or cheap or discounted, they don't ever want to pay for it again. Got it? That's what the psychology supports. Sarita, how do you feel about deleting nasty comments? Ooh, I like this question. On the one hand, I want to be authentic, But on the other hand, I have sensitive people in my coaching audience that don't need somebody else's baggage. Is this on open social or in a community? Open? Okay. You get to do whatever you want. I am a fan of giving my clients permission to delete comments that detract from the growth and experience of others. So comments that are abusive or triggering or any of that. I don't personally deal with that very much anymore, only because I'm just kind of like, it is what it is, you know? But one of my clients just went mega viral with 2 videos and they attracted the wrong audience for 50% of that. And so there was fighting. It was crazy. And all they did was delete microaggressions. And that worked really well. And then they just left the rest. Jared, that's so fun. Okay, what else? What else? Kathy, how important is your Google profile if you are a local service provider? So, 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 so important. If you are a local service provider, make sure it is updated, optimized, accurate. Try to get reviews. So important. Okay, Janessa, what do you think are the most effective lead generation strategies or approaches for those offering funnel building services? Facebook groups is going to be the biggest one for sure. Sam, have you seen that like most people who build funnels get their clients from Facebook groups? I see that all the time.
Yeah, it's definitely been the popular thing the last few years. I think it's been a couple years since I've proactively offered funnel building services, but that's definitely something I did a lot. I think the
Mhm,
biggest thing is just networking. So if you think of a Facebook group, you're just networking with other people in a community. Obviously you don't want to be you don't want to go into someone else's group and spam them, but like provide value. I've gotten well over $100,000 worth of business from the ClickFunnels group. I don't know if it's as active as it was, but I would respond to people's questions. I would post value. I get people DMing me all the time asking
mhm,
for work. So that's definitely a really good strategy. If it's not Facebook groups, you just got to find out where our audience is hanging out and
mhm.
provide value in a similar fashion.
I joined a mastermind and I wasn't thinking about like getting clients from that group, but at one given time, I had 7 clients from that mastermind, doing social and ads for them. So it was like 3,500 to 5,500 a pop. And so that was a good investment for me. Okay, Allison, after your incredible coaching, thank you. I've decided to scratch my Feel Good membership and pour my efforts into the coaching and VIP day. Amazing. I've been inspired by this week to create a lead magnet, which I can give out for free, which coaches people through the first few questions in each major life category or as they're preparing for caregiving. These are life categories and showcase coaching while providing true value. My question: if each coaching video is 1 to 5 minutes, should I post each coaching video on socials or make them individual lead magnets or keep this content only for the super lead magnet I'm creating? Okay, this will be helpful for everyone. So for some reason, most people do not value video-based lead magnets. The only exception is like challenges, but you have to have a pretty established platform to make a challenge be successful. Yeah, but most people do not value video because they're like, I want something fast. It would be more valuable to transcribe them and make them PDFs and then like with steps, action steps, tips, etc. And then you could post the videos on social and say, hey, head to the link in my bio. I actually have a guide for this. You can get that there for free. Anyone else watch a video and then you blank out if you didn't take notes? So like you're scrolling on TikTok, you watch the video, it's educational, you hear the steps, And then you're like, and it's gone from my brain by the next video. Yeah, so that's where the lead magnets as PDFs would still come in valuable. Yeah. Okay, Stacy, can we republish short form content, Reels shorts on the same platform? Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. Laura, oh my gosh. Did you guys see the thing about humping? Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so funny. Thanks for being a fun group, you guys. I don't think we would have made it through this week if we weren't fun. Okay, Kathy, if you're putting out ebooks, trainings, etc., do you need some type of insurance or protection if people rely on it and it doesn't work or they spend money and didn't get the desired result after buying it? So for this, two things. One, study the FTC, SEC, HUD, FDA, whatever your governing bodies in your industry are, so that you know like what you can and can't promise. So for example, have you guys noticed I'm never like, here's my system for making $10,000 a day and how you can too, prove it. I don't ever say that kind of stuff because that's how you get in trouble. So study the guidelines, and then on the funnel or in the actual product, you can add, this is not a guarantee. This
Or
is
did they get ruined?
what? Oh, just kidding. So you can say like, this is not a guarantee. Something else that's really helpful is if you say there are little tweaks you can make, like, this is how I did it versus your path to. If you say your path to, you're indicating that there's some level of guarantee. But if you say this is how I did this and not how you can too necessarily, that kind of makes a difference. But I would say study the governing bodies in your industry, and it will tell you kind of everything you need to know. Yep. Okay, let's see. Okay. Steph, well, just had an aha moment there. Okay, Allie says, back to the Google business profile. Do you post your content and videos here as well, or just reviews and pictures? Okay, so I'll tell you my thought process when I look up a company. I'm going to look up my local nail salon. So I haven't gone in forever, so I've been like repainting my nails every single day, which is so not ideal, but whatever. Okay, so the first thing I look at is the location. So the map needs to be updated, or if you don't have that, photos are the next things. I do like to see that there's a website button. That's really important to me. I need to know that it's going to give me accurate directions. That's also important. I need to be able to call them. That's very important. The reviews are massive. I check that for any local business. Oh, hours are huge. I cannot tell you the number of times that I've like called a business and they didn't answer, but it said that they were open and I got frustrated and then I went somewhere else. Yep. I don't think the content and videos, well, it can help, but I don't think it matters as much. What do you advise community builders, and how can I start charging my early adopters versus my new members? So paid communities, right? I would say if you already have a platform and a decent like email list and following, I would do like a founding members launch. I love founding members launches. If any of you are in an industry with founding members as a possibility, it is amazing. And then you raise the price after it closes, and that's the price for new members. Yep. Okay. Annalise, as a musician, they say to be on all the platforms, which is so overwhelming. Just create short form vertical video and use Metricool to repost it from TikTok to every other platform. That's what I would do. sorry, let's keep going. You said to focus on one and become a big fish there, but does that also work in my industry as well? You can do it so easily because music just does well. Um, I would either start on Instagram or TikTok, probably TikTok because of the copyright thing, and then repost it everywhere using Metricool. Yep. I mostly discover new music through short video. It's kind of fun.
Can I ask a question?
Oh, yeah.
So if I create it in TikTok and post it, use Metricool to post it everywhere else, then I won't have issues with the copyright.
Most likely not. I'm thinking Instagram,
It-
Facebook. No,
TikTok. Do I need to leave the TikTok logo on there?
no, you can use so it's snaptik, TIK .app, and you use it on desktop, and you just like paste the URL of the TikTok and then download it, and then you can upload it to Metricool. Isn't that beautiful?
Snap.tik.
Snaptik, TIK .app, and it's free.
Okay.
And that'll pull that watermark right off.
Okay. Awesome.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
You got it. Okay, Jared. I teach a movement-based practice for less stress and more energy, and was thinking of doing a 7-day, 7-minute movement challenge as my lead magnet. I know a lot of my audience doesn't want a PDF or a lecture, but quick wins for less stress, more energy. My goal is to get people to move and experience the practice. I like this. But Jared, how established is your audience? Because challenges aren't always easy to get momentum on. It has worked for others in the space. Go ahead.
I'm only on YouTube right now, and I've got over 1,200 people, so I'm still pretty small, and I've got like maybe 250 that watch every week.
Oh, that's
And
not
some people have donated to the channel and stuff like this. I just want to start getting a lead
nice.
magnet.
I would say try it, and then also transcribe if it's video style, transcribe each of the videos and then like fully edit it and turn each of those into lead magnets too.
Okay, I'm not sure how that would work because like I'm teaching you how to move and stretch a certain way, like
Yeah, I feel like you could teach the steps of how to do it.
okay,
Yeah,
sure.
like rotate your shoulder back. Well, actually, that's better as a video. You're right.
Yeah, it's better just to
Yeah.
to move, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. I like that. So cool. Okay. Jen, FTC has been cracking down for a long time on money promises and value. So it was back in 2019. No, hold on. I was pregnant with Dom. Let's see. 2017. I came across like a master class with Frank Kern, and he was basically breaking down how to avoid getting in trouble with the FTC. And I made a decision to just study it several times a year. What are the latest from the FTC and the SEC? And sometimes I have clients where I have to study the FDA or HUD or any of the other given ones. And they've been cracking down for a long time. There's just been so many people who have been breaking the rules that they have to build cases on everyone. So it's kind of wild. Okay, for artists, especially country singers, beyond sharing video content featuring their music and creative process, would incorporating the 4 V's still be effective and relevant? Yes. Did anyone see Miranda Lambert? And she randomly showed herself at a horse showing competition. And I know it's technically a little bit related to country music, but I was like, oh, this behind the scenes look is incredible. That variety was fantastic. Chantal says, my arm is very sore from writing notes. I believe you. I totally believe you. Stacy said, I had to take a year's sabbatical due to health issues. I'm coming back. How long should I add value before making even a low ticket offer? I would say lightly try in 30 days. Yep, give it 30 good days of a few of the V's and then hop back in. Such a good question. Steph, what is, if any, the best way to schedule Facebook content to your personal profile? There is no way unless you switch to pro mode. But pro mode, it gives you a massive benefit for a minute and then it tanks your reach. Don't go pro mode. So I keep mine personal. I've never gone pro mode. Okay. Let's see. Oh, Paulina, in my industry, a short consult is normal before a contract to ensure the right fit. That makes so much sense. In addition to a screening survey. Also, since mental health testimonials are tricky and borderline unethical, how do you suggest to go around it in the beginning or in my new product that is Burnout Recovery for Professionals program? Can you guys, instead of focusing on individuals, because I totally get that. I would never give my therapist a testimonial. I would feel so icky about that. I mean, I brag on her, but if she was using it on her site, I'd be like, I don't like that. So you could cite stats that people are experiencing. This percent of people are experiencing burnout. This percent of professionals are experiencing these types of mental illnesses that are undiagnosed. I would focus on the research and what's being discovered more recently in research. Okay. Steph, if it's still working for you, the pro mode, stay on it. But for most people, they tank very shortly after they start it. Okay. Amazing. Beautiful. You guys, I am actually tired. I am going to answer one more question and then I'm going to go play Mario Kart and not eat some more chips. That would be bad. Sarita, I'm debating doing my discovery or mini challenge for a $100 or more donation to a non-political charity of their choice as a part of a give back holiday initiative. I don't sense that that will do well. What will work well is just donate an amount of your choosing to a nonprofit that you care about. Yep. Beautiful. Did you guys have a good time over these 5 days? I had so much fun with you. I loved seeing like this particular group. Like I got to sit and watch your faces on the live each day, which has been so nice. Aw. If your Facebook is performing in pro mode, keep it in pro mode. If it's not, test switching back. Oh, you guys are so great. All right. I will catch you all later. Go have an amazing start to your weekends. You guys are so kind. Bye, everyone.